Like,
And we are back.
Live
Lyrical Ones episode. We on episode
two
20?
zero. Dub.
20? What? For the 2020 and the 20 in the month of
Uh-huh.
10? You feel me? We out here, right? It is Lyrical Ones episode 10. I am your gracious, grateful, thankful host, Sineo. And I'm joined by my colleagues, my friends, my constant therapy group. June, how we doing tonight?
that was spectacular. Thank you so much, Sineo.
It's all good.
Hey, oh, I'm so excited. I'm finna be in the, I'll say I'm in LA right now. I'm finna be in the Bay in about 2 days. So let's chop it up. I know each and every one of us got a story to tell about what's gonna happen, what happened, what will happen. Oh, I don't want to spill too much, but Alfluent, how are you?
I'm excellent. Been a great day. Uh, an exciting week. We lose some people, we gain some people. It's chess in here. It's the art of war. But it's a good fight. I'm happy to be fighting it. That causing good trouble. Feel me? Ready to vote. Some people voted early. Hope y'all done that. If not, we got plenty of time. We got a few weeks left. Let's get to it.
Get to
Cineo,
it.
how you
Thank you for
living?
the reminder.
Right on. Me, the mask on version of me is cool. We out here, we chilling. The mask off, we ain't gonna talk about it. We gonna leave that alone. But the mask on version, like, man, I'm telling you, I'm trying to change my life within a week and a half. That's where I'm at with it, right? Like people take time off to vacate. I'm taking time off to like change my life, like straight up. Like I keep telling people at my job, y'all not gonna buy me a house, so like I got business to do, right? So when I take time off there, I'm just clocking in at my other job. So that's what's happening right now. I'm getting my affairs in order, and I'm appreciative. I'm thankful. I'm grateful right now. Like it's horrible, but I'm alive to be able to try and make a change that takes it from being horrible into something that's hopeful, healing, healthy. So, that's where I'm at right now. So thank you for asking. Um, so, episode 20, right? This is verse 2, bar 4. Man, the first stanza couplet down. We out here. We making this happen, y'all. Um, I believe we are live on multiple platforms. I'm not for sure, but I hope that we are. If we're not, it's all good. If it's just
We're
one and
definitely on
done,
Twitch tonight. We on Twitch tonight.
we're definitely on Twitch. So, for those that don't know or need to know, if anybody can hop on social media and just let everybody know, hey, y'all, go to Twitch. Oh, we on YouTube, Facebook. We out here. We three Peters. Okay. Three Pete's, the three-piece combo. So we on Facebook, we on YouTube, and we on Twitch.
And a biscuit. Okay, that was
So
kind of that
exactly.
was
And a biscuit.
exaggerated, but I'm so sorry.
Get your
And
soda.
Periscope, bringing Periscope back. My life on Periscope. Oh, it was perfect. So entertaining. The best videos. That was the best time. 23s, 24s in the Bay. Oh, it was remarkable. What a time to be alive.
What a time. What a
I
time.
know.
So kind of start things off, I wanted to touch on kind of just, about knowing your boundaries around yourself, right? It was kind of like right before we got on, we kind of talked about what we want to talk about. And I want to touch on, when is it time to say no to yourself, right? When is it time to listen to yourself, right? For those that are listening, for those that are watching, you know, it goes a little something like this. I'm gonna go run, right? This is what happened. This is literally what I'm gonna go run. I'm gonna go run to a workout. Alfluent is running the workout, right? So I'm like, I'm in San Francisco. Those that don't know, that's the city. I'm off somewhere on a hill, and I'm like, I'm just gonna run all the way to where Alfluent is, right? So I'm in a neighborhood known as Betrayal Hill, right, which is near downtown, but it is not downtown. And I'm like, I'm gonna run from Betrayal Hill to downtown, right? I know Alfluent is at the Salesforce Tower running a workout. And I'm like, I'm gonna join it. I said I'm gonna go. I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna see what's up. I'm gonna get in there. Now I already messed my ankle up, and now I'm running on the ankle I messed up on to go work out on the same ankle. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna push through. I'm gonna pull through. I'm gonna thug it out. I'm gonna just make it happen because I said I was gonna go. right? This whole time I'm pushing myself because I'm like, I want to get there on at least, if I'm gonna be late, let me not be too late. So now I gotta pick up the pace. I gotta pick up the speed. I gotta watch out for cars. I gotta dodge the people. I gotta dodge the traffic. I gotta dodge so many things, and I gotta make it to this place. I run, I get there, and what he got everybody doing? He got everybody running laps. So now I'm running laps on top of having already run, and I'm feeling the pain, right? So I'm like, every time we get an opportunity to start doing squats, I'm like, great, because I ain't got to run no more. I'm like, I don't even like squats, but today I love them. This is a break. This is me saving myself. Afterwards, I couldn't really work out for like a good week and a half. I had to give myself time to heal, right? So that can also apply to, oh man, I'm about to tear up them nachos tonight. I'm about to go in. That's the cheese, the sour cream, the guac, or the avocado. And then you got the steak and the beans. And then you got the tortilla chips and the salsa. Oh, we going in. And then you be like, I know it's gonna tear me up though. I know it's gonna mess me up. And what happened? It messed you up. You be in the bathroom being like, I knew it was gonna happen, right? But it's like moderation, right? Understanding that sometimes temptation is not always, you don't got to give in. Sometimes you could find an alternative, right? Maybe you don't got to get the cheese on it. You ever try it without the cheese? That ain't nachos. Who says who? Who make up the rules? You could still get it. You could try something different, right? Make it a little easy on yourself. Maybe you don't get the beans, right? Maybe the beans is the problem for you, right? But when do you start making those choices to say, I'm going to do it differently? I'm going to tell myself, no, not this time. I'm going to do it different this time, right? When do you say, okay, I'm not going to push myself to go to work all the time, right? I'm going to take some time off and not feel guilty about taking time off. So I'm just saying, but y'all, what do y'all think about that concept?
I think discipline leads to freedom. In this context, when you have self-discipline, you are then at your own discretion able to do the things that you want at the times that you want. The discipline comes in when you do them, and with that you excel in only continuing to do so. So allow me to share, spin that on its head, share another topic. I think I was gonna share a quote that I had heard. I love looking at these memes, man. I mean, they hit so hard. But one of them said, like, self-care is not the luxury, it is the priority. Like, it's the priority, it's not the luxury. So I think, like, self-care, I think for me, that means having a reset every once in a while. Whether if that means a reset, I'm just in my own space, and I'm able to log my own thoughts. I'm able to log what I think. I'm able to log my own progress, or just take a reset. And for me, oh goodness. Anyway, well, like, for me, like, I had to listen to my body and I had to do a cleanse, right? So that's just what I did. So, and for me to get like, and it's like, or some may call it a fast, and then a fast has certain connotations, as we may be aware of. So on and so forth. For me, that's a part of my self-care, a reset every now and then. And then so I could take a step back and really analyze the situations, or what's lateral. No, so I can look up. Okay, this is what's in my future. This is my potential. I can look down. That's where I don't want to be. That's out the mud. That's where I'm not trying to be. And I can look around. So we come on with the memes tonight, son.
It's funny you say that. Alfluent, where you at when it comes to defining those boundaries within yourself and being like, nah, I can't. Nope. Take care of me first before I try and overdo it.
For me, it is an intention on reflection and introspection, being aware of where I'm giving my energy, where I'm giving my time, and what are my intentions throughout my day, throughout my week, throughout a month. If I can look back after a month and say, these are the choices I made, and it led me here. If I can look back after a week and say, these are the choices I made in this past week, how did that affect me? What position did it put me in for the following week? And, what does it look like for me to pursue balance? Like, balance is not a place that I'm going to arrive at, right? It's something that I'm pursuing all the time. So say if I shift my energy to self, right, this means I'm going to make time for my health, for my wellness or rest, for nutrition, for recovery, rejuvenation. But that's an imbalance where other things may suffer, other things in life may suffer, because I make this shift. And then say I shift to siblings, I'm able to build stronger bonds, able to create memories. I'm able to learn from folks about myself, from the emotional triggers or activations that they have helped develop just in the way that we grew up. If I shift to parents, I get to learn lessons, hear stories, tell stories, share my own life with, people who are not necessarily part of my, everyday happenings, because I don't see them at work or I don't come home to parents. If I shift to a partner, then my partner gets the benefit, or our relationship gets the benefit of having more time, more energy. But then any of these other shifts that I make away from self then leaves less time for self. And neither is wrong. Say I shift to work, then there's an opportunity for promotion, opportunity for more financial stability, opportunity for some recognition. And that may be good for a time, but I still need to practice, whether it's in the day or the week, or the month or the season, of shifting between those two and making transitions. I think it's really kind of like if you're in a car and you need to change speeds, and listening to your body, listening to your mind, listening to your heart and your spirit about changing speeds. And it's like some days I'm moving at 85 miles per hour, and that's great. And all the people in my circle maybe are all at the same speed that week or that month or that year. And we're just doing a lot of things, and we're making a lot of memories, and we're making a lot of progress toward our network goals. And then January 1 may come around. People are like, you know what? I just want to go 65 miles per hour this year. I just want to go to speed limit this year. But some folks are like, I want to ramp it up. I want to go 90. I want to go 95 because I feel like I didn't do enough. And right, everybody, like for anyone, that's okay. That's valid. But we all have to see where the balance is, where the lack of balance is. Because when you're not paying attention to your equilibrium and you're not aware of the balance, that's when it becomes harmful. That's when you say, well, I'm going to push through, not recognizing that I'm out of balance. And either my body or my spirit or my mind will become overwhelmed, and I'll have to stop altogether. And so acknowledging when you're out of balance, especially if you have people around you that'll tell you, hey, you walking around like this. You're like, what? No, I'm not. Nah, you are, literally. Nah, I see you straight. Nah, you've been walking around like this for like 3 weeks. Bruh, I don't even believe you. Until you see it yourself, you can't make an adjustment. And it's so important. Oh, for those that's listening on the podcast, listening on the different audio platforms, I tilted my head to the side to demonstrate that I was out of balance. And when we don't recognize that there's a shift and the people around us are telling us. If we don't acknowledge it, then we'll end up in a space where we can't make an adjustment because we're not acknowledging, we're not aware and accepting of the lack of balance that exists. Like when you say, I've been working hard, I've been doing a lot of stuff with friends, I've been doing a lot of stuff with relatives, but I need to take care of home. It's time to go on a family vacation. That is a shift. And what society will tell you is the culture right now is to work less, to that if you are aware of your vulnerabilities, of your limits, of being overwhelmed, and you acknowledge them, that's weakness. And really, the opportunity to rest, to recover, man or woman, um, or non-binary, it's really just about listening to you and doing what's best for you, and not allowing culture or people around you to vote on what's best for you. Um, you have your own vote in your choices, same way you have your own vote in society, and that's why some things the public shouldn't be allowed to vote on when it comes to people and their bodies. Um, some things that just shouldn't be on ballots, shouldn't be part of legislation in the first place. Um, Especially when it comes to what is right for people, in their bodies and in their life. When you listen into your body say, this is what my body wants to do, it should be, your right and your right alone, what happens, within your body.
No, I agree. I mean, it is a thing where you know, people don't acknowledge the limitations, right? So it's like even within yourself, right? You got the limitations, and then society has limitations, right? And so it's weird when that shift goes from being a way to like kind of grow within yourself, right? To have that understanding of your boundaries, your personal boundaries, or what societal boundaries are. But then also being mindful that sometimes those boundaries are placed on you to control you, right? Like, oh man, I don't know if you ever watched this. It was on Hulu, right? I ain't trying to plug and be advertising, but there was a movie about a young girl and her mother. And in this movie, this young girl was treated as though she was sick all the time. The mother made her believe that she couldn't walk, right? That she needed a feeding tube, that she was literally on the cusp of dying every day, right? So in this movie, right, you've taken what society has given you, this mother, right? Oh, I know of these sicknesses, these diseases, these symptoms, and then I know how it may benefit me by getting me a free house, which is what happened in this story, right? And so you have this innocent individual who's now placed under all these different kind of confinements and these boundaries and limitations, and they slowly, as they grow and develop, understand there's nothing wrong with me, right? So now you think about, right, when to say no, right? In this context, in this case, this person has been made to believe that they needed to say no to so much when in reality it's like, no, you were lied to, right? And we go connect that to what society, in terms of politics, right? Legislation, we're going to try and make determinations around what you can and cannot do. And there's a very fine line between it protecting us and then that being harmful to us, right? Doing us damage. And so when I'm saying, right, knowing the difference between when it's like I want to run, right? I want to run, but are you pushing yourself more than you need to, right? Are you listening to the capacities of your body? Your lungs might be great, but your ankles might be weak, right? You want to run, but are you taking care of yourself to make sure you can sustain the run, right? Is it that you need to go run at the track, or is it that you need to work out with your body weight to become adjusted to sustain this movement, right? Is it that you're thinking about your wellness, your wholeness, and thinking of like, okay, me spending time with the ones I love, right? Which connects to something I was telling some kids this week. I was like, how many times have you ever heard an adult say, I'm too tired right now. I just got off work. Imagine a world that dictates to people that you need to prioritize when you wake up, what times you eat, everything you do, not your children, not their happiness, not their stability, right? Not what they need, but just to say, I got to go to work. Not right now. I got to go to work. And then you get off of work and you're like, I'm too tired, right? We've created a whole society that ignores the ones who used to stay up in the cave to watch the cave, right? And we then now penalize them because they come from that like legacy, that ancestry. You didn't come to work on time. You do that again, we're gonna write you up. You didn't come to school on time, right? You're truant, right? So now we got all these things, and it's like self-care is definitely, it's healthcare, right? Self-care is the awareness of like, what do you need to do to take care of self? We put the industry at the forefront. We put all these things at the forefront, right? People will then try and say, shout out to Meek University, by the way. I got this from Meek University. If y'all don't know, it is a Black woman entrepreneur who gives game, right? If you're looking for a consultant or somebody to kind of give you some insight on how to kind of be your own boss, Meek University, from what I have gathered on Twitter, right, they have been a constant source of inspiration for me. And one of the things that they said was self-care is not going and buying that luxury item. That's not self-care, right? Because the thing is, you have to ask yourself, are you in a place where you can sustain that luxury, right? Are you in a sustainable place, right? Right? Being rich is having money. Wealth is how long it's going to last you, right? So if you have $1 million, shout out to Rich Dad, Poor Dad. If you have $1 million, right? Yeah, you're a millionaire, but if your expenses, right, are $100,000 a month, well, you only wealthy for 10 months. People don't want to look at it like that, right? You just want to say, I got $1 million, but how do you sustain it? Are you thinking about sustainability, right? Are you thinking of, not just saying no, but also when are you getting ready to say yes? Are you saying yes for the right reasons, right? Are you, I'm about to get this. I saved up for this, but what are you saving up for? Is that a coping mechanism to deal with your job? Because that's not going to give you the energy to deal with your kids or to deal with your family or to deal with your people, right? Yeah, you look fresh at Thanksgiving, but that's only because you got the day off, right? Are you thinking about that? And that's the thing that I'm not necessarily trying to be harmful and criticizing. I'm trying to be critical so that we could be better about what we do, right? Because we live in a world, which kind of brings me to my next topic, around critical thinking. Now, what I experienced as me without the mask was I was in an assembly, a virtual assembly at a school, and they were going off props and measures that are coming up on the ballot. And they only stated one side, right? It was like, vote on this. And if you vote yes, right? They were like, this is the prop. And if you vote yes, this is what it does. But they never said, what happens if you vote no? What will it do, right? So to me, I'm in my seat, like steaming, because I'm like, y'all don't even incorporate politics into your everyday curriculum. So it's actually a sustainable practice that they're aware of and they know how to get involved and engage. You wait for like one day to do an assembly and then tell them more or less in the most passive way or the most indirect way, this is what you should vote. This is how you should vote. Not to give you space to think critically and to actually give you space to figure out for yourself what's right for you, right? And so to me, it's one of those things that, again, we go from now saying no to self, right? I'm not gonna buy that. I'm not gonna buy that bag. I'm not gonna get the bag. I'm gonna save it for something else, right? I'm gonna make this money sustain itself and grow, right? Shout out to Robin Hood for hooking it up and giving me that ability to get my money on. Cause I'm telling y'all right now, I'm getting some money. It ain't a lot, but it's good enough to make me feel happy about my decisions in life. But beyond that, right?
When you're talking about a bag, I'm thinking it's a Birkin. So I'm thinking I'm thinking
exactly.
like,
what is it? Is it a Birkin?
Like the stick of color, So I'm thinking, hey,
what is this? You know what I'm saying? Is it MCM, right? Like, what is this, right? Is this Fendi? What are we doing, right? Is this a Louis? Oh man, right? But then again, like, are you thinking of sustainability, right? We live in a world right now where it's like, if you got it, I want it too, right? Are you in a position where you are safe in that, right? I get to stunt. Don't get me wrong.
I gotta be better. I gotta floss harder and look more effort and make it look more effortless.
I mean, trust me,
I'm my secrets. I'm sorry.
I done put my money invested into the shoes, and like I love, stuff, but at the end of the day, I had to acknowledge what is the goal, right? And I'm willing to make those sacrifices to go for the goal, right? Because I see so many families where they start off and they be like, they kids dress a certain way, and you're like, oh, they ain't got it. And then you look 20 years later and you're like, oh, they pulling up in the BMW and they ain't stressing. This ain't a situation where it's like, I got it at least for a year, right? It's like, this is play money. This is nothing, right? Because of the practice, the discipline. Going back to what you said, June, the discipline, right? People forget that the discipline is essential, right? That's how you get to sustainability, to having the discipline, right? Discipline to your practice, right? Going back to practice, the practice is the perfection when it's consistent, right?
That's how you get 100,000 subscribers, from being consistent and being disciplined to put out content every week or what, but at whatever. Because in the next generations to come, all the YouTubers, all that money's gonna be their old money.
Let them know, right? People don't know about old money, right? I read this book by Malcolm Gladwell called The Outliers, and in it talked about the most wealthiest time in history, and how, in the turn of the industrial age, at the beginning of the industrial age, there was like the most wealthiest people of all time all kind of came up in this one period of time, right? Now on the flip side, right, they looked at the tech industry and they were like Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, and you know, sorry, forgive me, but it's smart to not know their name. The founder of Cisco Systems, right? They all were born within a couple of years of each other, right? And they're like considered the figureheads of the tech industry, or like, what is Silicon Valley now, right? And so when you look at time, right? Time kind of grants you access, right? Timing is key in some regards. You can benefit from the time if you're aware and you learn, but in this context, right, you're saying the new money that we're seeing now will become the old money because that's where the industry will be, right? And with that, you said 100,000 subscribers, which is them being consistent. But what is also more important, knowing when to give yourself space to heal, to recover, to rest, so you can be consistent, so you continue to show up, right? Those are keys that people don't really think about when it comes to I want to do it. You don't think about, well, what am I when do I say I'm not going to do it, right? When do I give myself those breaks and make it the discipline to say, okay, I'm gonna step away. And the thing is that, I'm going from self-care to now critical thinking, right? Because I'm looking at, okay, we have people in society who are going to try and dictate to you how to think, how to vote, how to choose, right? What to eat, what to wear, what to buy. And I just want to know, what are y'all thoughts? Alfluent, what do you think about a situation where we're in a time where the political, climate is ripe for the taking, right? We're talking about voting, we're talking about the ability to provoke change, make change tangible and happen through voting. And you got the adults, or the kind of, who are the quote unquote leaders or managers of a situation, dictating to the next generation how to think, what to do, how to vote. I think you muted.
I think I am muted. I think I'm no longer muted.
Cool.
I think it's one of those things that's been prevalent and consistent, I think, in American culture and society. Um, Before it was propaganda, Um, when they're trying to tell people, try to tell young people what to buy, influencing young kids to, to buy cars, right, to spend their money and focus on consumerism and their own value being wrapped around the cigarette that they smoke, the relationship that they have, the car they drive, the Letterman jacket, right? Letterman jackets, been costing money, um, been cost parents money, and yet, children are told, if you're good at sports, you should still buy. You should still buy instead of be rewarded with something. You should reward yourself by buying. Um, and now I think that message is there, but it's changed in that they tell people what to do, through advertisements, through influencers, right? The messages are all digital, because that's where the gaze is, right? And so it's a carousel of imagery and messages that says you're less than, or this is popular, or this person is wearing this or wearing that, or this person believes this, is voting for that, is aligned with this party, is supporting this project, this proposition, these groups, without actual information. um, just just nudges and more propaganda at, your favorite singer, wants you to vote, but they also are going to say at some point, if you follow them, who they're voting for as a key on who you should vote for, because you like their music, um, or you like their art, or you like their acting, or you like the suit that they wore or the sunglasses they wore. Um, and like that message has not changed. And I think when the young people start to realize that the people they see that their age that they want to follow and mimic or emulate, are still being paid by older people who don't really understand them. They're being paid by people who only see them as a tool to get elected, right? It's who are, being their role models are being paid by corporations and institutions that don't care about the people that they impact outside of their own bottom line and their own return on investment. And when you start to see yourself as a business, when you start to see yourself as a brand, then you start to say, am I getting a return on my investment for the time and energy that I put into these Nikes or these video games or my education or these friendships that I have? Am I getting a return on the amount of effort that I'm putting in or spending, with this current situation? And sometimes it is justified, and other times people say, they'll wake up one day and say, hey, I actually don't believe in what this elected official is saying on the TV. But I voted for them, 2 years ago, or I voted for them 4 years ago. I voted for them in a primary, and before they were saying stuff that thought I believed in, because my favorite artist, my favorite celebrity, said that they were supporting this politician. And now that they've been elected and been in office for a few years, they don't sound anything like my favorite artist. They don't sound anything like, the morals or the things that I believe in. And if there's that opportunity for you to think for yourself, it's the opportunity for you to critical think and say, let me learn more about my options. Let me learn more about the options we have as a country, the options we have as a county, the options we have as a district, the options we have in our neighborhoods, to change things by voting for people who care about us and our well-being, not just because they look like us, not just because they sound like somebody we know, or they look like somebody we don't like, or they're on the side of somebody we don't like, and we don't really know what people who we don't like, we really don't know what they've been doing. It's like we don't know the efforts that people have been making to make change. How are you going to judge them and say they're not doing it? It's like walking around with your shoes untied and looking at everybody else's shoes and telling them to tie theirs. It's like at some point you go stumble. So you should probably pay attention to what you're doing before you take a fall. Instead of trying to look after everybody else and what they're doing, think about the things you believe in. Think about the things that matter and are close to you. And are you doing what's necessary to keep yourself from stumbling? Because I think that's what happened in the pandemic. People were relying on their businesses, they were relying on their jobs, their employers, they were relying on the government, and they were relying on the way things were to be their stability. And the government was doing the same thing. And this disruption came like disruptions do. And I think the most important thing for them is this control factor for the government. Like, we're going to take this opportunity to condition some instructions. When we say jump, we want you to say how high. Okay, we say wear a face mask, we want you to say how many, what brand. And, we have to critical think. Otherwise, it's like Brother Malcolm X said, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And we have to do enough research and critical thinking to say, these are the things that I want to stand for, even if it's just one or two things. If you imagine giving your effort to just a single thing, the singular thing, not the 50 causes, not the 20 causes with the 20 GoFundMes, but the one thing with the one effort, with the one message that's close to you. And you can go through the list of candidates and people around who are up for election, locally and federally. And you can say, do these people align with this cause? Okay, they do or they don't. Then there's another thing that I believe in, or some other growth, or some other inequity that I see. Are they on the side of justice and ethics when it comes to this topic or not? And same thing with the companies, your shoe companies, or your kitchenware companies, or your furniture companies. You can say, oh, who are they giving their money to? What type of events do they sponsor? Like, do they hold programs? Do they start projects? Do they start foundations that align with the injustice that I see, and then working toward equity, equality, and improvement and change in areas that need it outside of their bottom line? I just really hope that young people can continue to hold on to their voice, and take cues from the athletes, but also take cues from parents, take cues from those around you. Sometimes I always say, all advice is good advice, because when you get bad advice, then you know that you don't need to listen to that person again. It's like, straight up, I'm not going back to them for advice.
Which makes it good.
Which makes it so good. It's like, oh, dang, they told me to cross the street when a car was coming. Can't mess with them no more. Cannot
we speak in metaphors and parables. You know what I mean? Like, read between the lines, people. Understand the differences.
I mean, if somebody say, you should drink bleach or something to, prevent some kind of sickness, some kind of coronavirus, you should drink bleach, or you should drink, something that's harmful to your body. That's bad advice, which you can then say, oh, that's good advice, because that's not the person I should be listening to for my health concerns, for my wellness.
Man, I mean,
they found out that they were testing the vaccine, and there's an inexplainable illness that has run rampant, and I believe that they have ceased producing the vaccine due to this unexplained illness.
Yeah, Johnson & Johnson did stop production on the vaccine.
So
That's what I heard.
June,
I read in the news this morning.
so I mean, June,
What's
what do you
that?
think about that? What do you think about the idea that, to think critically, right? Like, listen to your body's one thing, but now someone's
Oh
telling
yeah,
you
yeah.
different.
No. I mean, like, here's my version of thinking clearly. Peep my game. So first, you have to analyze you as an individual. Then take a look at where your surroundings at. So not only you have to look at your society, like your community, and look at it on a scale of society. Then you also have to look at the worldview. We'll leave that worldview out for another time. But not only are you looking at how you are impacted mentally, physically, spiritually, numero uno, but also how is this um, impacting you socially? How is this impacting you economically? Now let's take it on a bigger scale because, and this is where I'm going to tie it in. You are being impacted by laws that are being made, but many lawmakers are influenced to vote a certain way for certain laws because they are enticed but through gifts, and those gifts may be monetary, or those gifts may be top golf free membership for your family, for your whole company. Everybody gets in top golf for free. Why does that sound so far-fetched? Anyhow, um, so this is a reason I feel as if why companies are not taxed as much, or if at all. It's actually laughable. Why is the hardest working class, and the classes that don't? Now we're talking on a societal level, the economics. Like, if we want to talk about critical thinking, so my game was you analyze it as you quickly find the way how you relate, then remove all your biases so that whenever anyone who's speaking to you, you can cut and go where you need to go, where the conversation leads you. You're not thinking of what they're going to say. You're gonna ride in that front seat, but also, just but with wisdom, be aware of where they're taking you. Well, like if you hop in a car with somebody, here's to a depiction. You're not just for the first time, and they're taking you someplace new. I don't know if you're from where I'm from. I mean, in Hayward, I'm not gonna just close my eyes and just kick back. I'm gonna be aware of where I'm at. So yeah. So I'm just, when it comes to critical thinking, I'm going to be aware of, okay, where are they going to take me? But I'm not going to try and put my words or put my biases in their mouth. I'm just trying to be as open-minded as possible. I think being open-minded, here's my 2 cents, is absolutely needed to grow as a society, as well on the personal level. So that's my tidbit. That's my public service announcement. But when it comes back to these politicians and the lawmakers that are being bribed, and I don't, maybe not bribed is not the word. There's Find me a politician. You're actually, when you find a politician, I'm getting deep in the cuts. But I think it's just finding what's the lesser of two, like what's the least evil to you, because I don't. I have yet to find a politician that represents every single thing that I believe in, or in the backing for that. The backing for that schools comes from those schools that are being supported. Doesn't come from a place of, of that can do harm in any kind of way. Anyhow, I'm getting way off course. Look, I just wanted to say that I think that a lot of these companies, the reason why they don't get taxed is because what they would get taxed is going into a fund or into the pockets of these politicians that help get the laws that are in the favor of those companies passed. How many roller coasters we go on that one?
I mean, you was taking it there. Like we are full people, right? We come with complex thoughts. We have nuance. We have subtlety, and we have extremity. We have it all. Like, and I think you kind of was able to navigate the complexity of the situation, right? When we
Thank you
are
for not minimalizing me.
No, it's real. It's not even the minimum. It's not even minimalizing. It's
It's
really
not.
connecting the dots, right? It's acknowledging the whole thought, right? Because it's easy for people to lose sight, right? I tell you to look at the stars, and you look at my finger. You're not looking at the stars, right? Holla, Bruce Lee. So the thing is, when you sitting here and you're
Yeah.
saying, right, the whole idea about it is, right, we're looking at not only how people are influenced, but we're looking at how power systems and structures exist and how they kind of continue in this infinite sense, right? Like it is societal norms, right? It's these societal agreements. We all have this common culture that we don't try to, we want to feel safe, and sometimes feeling safe is whatever normal is for the moment, right? Right now we have a new normal, right? We're in a whole new age. We see things happening differently, and unfortunately there's a lot of things that are causing harm, right? Because that's really what we're trying to do, is we're trying to address harm. We don't feel safe when we feeling harmed. So the thing is, when we're looking at people who are not taking care of the self by saying no, or not thinking critically about what's being given to them, right? We have to then question, okay, well, what is the context that all this exists in, right? There is a context of like, well, America's biggest way of generating money is consumerism, right? Like to buy, right? That's what we do. We buy things. That's how people get paid. So if I give you enough to distract yourself with, and I kind of create an echo chamber of consumerism, then you'll always be a part of that system. And the people who are in power stay in power, right? Because what are we
Right.
doing? We are giving them money, right? So while they are untouchable, they ain't going to the same stores we going to. They ain't eating the same food we eating. Like I literally seen Jeff Bezos go from looking like 50 years old to like looking 48 years old over
He's
the
a
course of I mean, but this is over the course of his career, right? He started in the 90s. We now in the 2020. And you mean to tell me in 20 plus years, this man has looked younger, right? But what is that really saying? Like he's seeing the future of what he wants for himself, which is I need to sustain my wealth and keep continuing to grow. And he's also emulating that in how he's showing up, right? He looks like the archetype of Lex Luthor from Superman, right? Bald headed rich guy, really fit, and just so happens to kind of be smart with navigating these systems. But again, right, he don't have to pay taxes like we pay taxes, because he gets to pretty much reinvest his money, right? He gets the chance to say, oh well, I didn't really earn money because I reinvested it, right? If my company owns my home, well, that's me at a place of work, right? Like if the trust is the one that's buying the property, then it's not really mine, right? Like there's all these ways that they maneuver and manip the game to make us be like, I don't know why you worried about Jeff Bezos. He a billionaire. He detached from his hand. No, he's a part of this world just as much as anybody else, right? You want to create these lines of separation and trying to legitimize, normalize the complicit nature of things, right? Well, let's be compliant, let's assimilate, right? When in reality, it's doing harm to someone, or it's doing harm to you inadvertently, right? You probably don't realize how a lot of your issues that exist within yourself or within your family also have many factors in the society you live in, the community you live in, the world you live in, right? Your perception is reality, but you also have to open your perception, right? Back to what June was saying about opening your mind, right? Having an open mind. You have to widen your perspective. You have to see things outside of yourself. Because when it comes to these people and them making these choices and them telling us what they think or how things should be, yeah, we're not going to always agree, right? But we don't really have a society right now where people can even have a conversation and have differing opinions, having differing views and a point that they stand on, right? Like this might be a spicy buy for a lot of people, but it's like, what do you think we move away from love thy neighbor to love thy racist?
damn.
How does that make people feel, right? Because when you think about it, right, we sitting here and we're trying to figure out, okay, well, how do we step past? Now, I'm not saying love in terms of enabling. I'm not saying love in terms of allowing, right? You can accept that they are what they are without it being something that you enable them to continue to grow into, right? Like if you get between the lines, when I say forget you, I'm not saying forget. I'm saying the other word with 4 letters with a K on the end, right? So when I'm saying to someone I love, forget you, right? I'm saying it out of anger. It's gonna land a little harsh, but it don't change the fact that I love them, right? When I say I'm gonna beat your assumptions, right? That don't mean, if you get it, it's taking out the umption part and just sticking with the first three. But I'm trying to be responsible. So kids listening, yeah, beat your assumptions, right? If I'm gonna beat your assumptions, right? I'm gonna beat your assumptions down. Then we really looking at like, I love you enough to try and challenge you to think differently than to just assume what you think is the truth or is fact, right? Because your truth is individualized through your perception. Facts exist beyond you and outside of yourself. At least that's my interpretation, right? So it's different for everybody.
Run that back one more time.
Truth.
I forgot I wasn't on mute. I could have been talking and piping in the stuff and popping up and tapping in this whole time.
You with it? We here, right? Truth is for you. That's your reality. That's your perception. That's you. Facts exist outside of you, right? Facts will be they don't care about you. They don't care about how you feel. They just facts, right? They just exist as is. They data points, or they're things that you could use to be able to move it through society and be like, okay, I'm not going to eat too much sugar because my pancreas might just give out and not give me no more insulin. So I become a diabetic, right? These are things you have to think about, right? That's a fact. That ain't got nothing to do with how I feel today, right? I ain't got, it don't matter about what I wore or what I think, right? That's a fact. My truth is I'm gonna tear up these sweets and I don't care what nobody tells me. That's a different story, right? Now, when the fact meets the truth,
vegan sweets right here with dates, drizzled and honey. And
I mean, you do what you gotta do, girl. You get it in. You feel me? You do what, you know what I'm saying? We out here, we gotta live. But again, it's not about feeling guilty. It's about really understanding how we kind of will enable ourselves, right? Like when I say love that racist, I'm not saying embrace them as they try to stab you in the back. I'm saying there's still a person that child was taught that, right? Like people don't realize like that institutionalized racism exists within the South through the education system, right? I think it was called the Sisters of the South, who created a lot of the education and curriculum that then created the racist narratives of oppression and segregation that exist to this day, because those same kids are now the politicians, right? So when you got a guy on TV who's saying you could be black in my state as long as you're conservative, that's just you saying, as long as we can control your thoughts and what you think and what you feel and believe, you are allowed to exist, right? But perception is reality. You exist outside of that context, outside of that person's realm of thinking and how they feel. But where he's thinking, where he's coming from, has been instilled in him since a child. It's been fundamentally rooted in his core, right? When he learned his mother and his father, he was learning to hate this person, not like this person, to control this person, right? Maybe it ain't just blind hate. Maybe it's passive hate, right? It's still hate. Maybe it's minimal hate, still hate, right? It don't always got to be in your face, right? They can take a picture and shake your hand and act like they like you, but they don't ever want you to be on their level, right? As long as you right where you at or you over there, it's great, right? And you know what? No, June, go ahead.
That hate doesn't have to be in your hand. It can be in your head or your heart.
It's real.
Let
them things go.
I have a little like a personal experience that I can share. I'm like, we can go and take it in that direction. But I also wanted to say real quick, because oh my goodness. Dang it, let me just.
You got it.
Okay, cool. I built it up just to say what? Sin, run it back, because I'm not ready yet. I wanted to say something. Continue. I cut you off.
No, it's all good. What I was getting at, right, was like the understanding of like, you know, how do I respect your harm, right? It's hard to respect harm, right? June, you got it? You back in it?
Got it.
Jump in.
That's what's so hard, because that's what we're battling right now. The racism that's been passed down.
We're battling, right? What has been inherited, right?
Right. Like the mindset and the perception that in America, I'm not even talking, just talking, just on the topic of race. No, race in America. Like people still think that, okay, my cousin, I went to go visit my cousin, my dad, my brother in Little Rock, Arkansas not too long ago. My cousin, I got in the car. He said, I can take you to where you can sign up for the Klan right now. And that stuff's still going on. That's that hate in your hand. Like they're active. That's what President Trump was talking about. Proud Boys stand back. Proud Boys stand by. You don't hear a pimp say, my hoes stand back. Okay, but stand by. What? I'm sorry, we're taking it everywhere. You said since that I'm gonna be a little bit more responsible. Can I spare just a little bit?
I mean, we here.
So just the fact that that's what we're dealing with, where it is a more passive racism. It may not be I'm going out of my way because of a pure hatred that I have because of this person, the color of their skin. It could be something that's passed down that, oh, this Proud Boy's mother, every time she was around a black person when he was younger, she would keep him a little closer. It's that kind of mentality that we're now sifting through like snakes, and like garden snakes, trying to like, I'm just sorry, like I just feel like that's how we have to be aware that hate moves. Hate may not be so direct, it may be indirect. And okay, and if we're talking about hate, it's not just a race thing that we're battling right now in America. We're because I just want to acknowledge that National Coming Out Day was on the 11th. And I just want to acknowledge that there's still a homophobia, a deep sense of homophobia or phobias linked with this community that I feel like that needs to be exposed. Something that I saw was someone saying, I was born gay. You were taught religion. So like I was born the way that I am, you were taught hate. And it goes back to what Sin was saying. Like, so that's how I wrap it up.
No, I feel you. I mean, you right. Like, Alfluent, what you thinking? What you pondering, pontificating over there?
Oh, nothing, man. I'm just letting June have her time, man.
I mean, what do you think about that? Love your races. When I say something like that, what is that? What is that invoking your mind?
I don't know. I always think about the good and the bad in people. Right? Like being racist is right. It's like a illusion. um, it's like believing in Santa Claus or the Easter Bunny. Um, believing in race, right? The only difference is the way people govern themselves usually causes harm because they practice discrimination and prejudice activities. Um, and sometimes they use a lot of hate speech, and that stuff is prevalent. I think when you talk about like those multi-generational um, mindsets of racism, where you say, okay, these kids um, are the children or grandchildren of former slave catchers or folks who upheld Jim Crow laws in the South. Um, like the way I think you love them is not necessarily in affection, but in respect, and the opportunity to let them know, hey, like you have to educate yourself because you're in an illusion. Like Santa Claus is not real, right? Like this idea that somebody's inferior to you because of their skin color is not real. This idea that we are any different because we look different um, is harming you, it's harming me, and it's harming the country. Um, and so I like Cornel West's quote where he says, "Justice is what love looks like in public." Um, and so when you talk about love for the racists, then you have to talk about, justice for everybody. Um, and what does justice look like for everybody? And if it means teaching justice, um, you know, even if there are a lot of uninformed people who don't know the harm that the system causes to black and brown people, but also there are triumphs that have been made and victories that have been won that people also don't know about. There are facts in history, there are things in history that people are just ignorant of, and that I think that keeps them thinking about this dream of racism, this divided America, this hateful America, and really you got to like people don't like trying to fit in. It's like this acceptance thing. Like the people around them, they think these people will like me if I rock with them, and like people have to critical think still, right? It still comes back to that critical thinking. It's like you telling me to love a racist means I still need to critical think and say, well, I'm not going to listen to you just because you said, the magic word love, or you said a trigger word racist. Like I still have to critical think and say, what does this person mean to me? And how do I interact with them on a daily basis? And, can we find some way to coexist while disagreeing? Can we find a way to make change and progress, our culture and our way of life and our quality of life, not just for us, but for following generations, even if we disagree? Um, it's like, okay, you can say that every person who believed Hitler has to die, or you could take a note from, the German government and say we need to re-educate people because not everybody was fighting in the war. Some people had beliefs because their parents were soldiers, and that's what they taught them, and they needed to be re-educated before they even done a crime. They believed they were race they believed in racism without having anybody around to be racist too. Like they had never met people who didn't look like them, and they never met people who didn't believe what they believed. So they needed to be re-educated so that they could know that the way that they saw the world was a fallacy. And so like we got to continue to do that, right? I have to do that as a man in the way that women live their life. I have to do that as a person of color in a way that white people live. It's like we say, oh yeah, well I don't need to know, but the dialogue is how we grow.
No, I mean, I agree. And the reason why I say that, right? Critical thinking, when to say no, setting boundaries within yourself, right? Understanding what's being given to you is because, like, I have been in work with the community for a long time, and addressing these issues and these concerns has been something that has been paramount to my being since I was a child, right? My mother instilled it in me. We talking about, really understanding who's Martin Luther King, who's Nelson Mandela, who's Malcolm X. What does it mean to show up and be, a black person, a black boy in this world? And, not just be black, but be brown too, right? Like to have these complexities and intersectionality around my responsibility to the world. And so I've worked in the community, and I've talked to so many people, and people become so enamored with their anger and their rage that they don't realize they're blinded by what is the overall outcome, right? If I'm if I'm sitting here looking at two sides, and I'm supposed to be like, wait, but we all human, right? My team is better than your team. Democrats over here is some number Crips, Bloods over here is Republican, blood, like, right? But what is it? We human, right? I have to acknowledge what you're going through, what's your struggle, right? Because I will say this, and this is a spicy bite, right? When Obama was in office, there was a disconnect between a lot of states and what was going on a federal level, but that had a lot to do with the complexity of all these different figureheads, right? We're talking about governors, we're talking about state legislators, we're talking about congressmen, we're talking about senators. Everyone had a different role, right? You got to remember, this was when what did they do? They shut down the Senate, right? Because they were in disagreeing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we gonna just shut it down. We ain't going to work, right? We gonna boycott the president, right? So you got to remember all this is happening. So people will now only remember, well, who was the guy at the top? Well, it was Obama. He's the problem, right? If you're not educated, you're not aware, and you don't look at it and you don't realize, oh, my governor, my state governor that I voted in here was actually a part of the reason why things didn't change, right? Then we got to really be critical of like, well, what was everyone's role? Because it doesn't fall on one person. We want to say that it does. That's why we put the president in that position. But in reality, it's deeper than that, right? So you got people who living in an echo chamber, right, who are suffering, right? Because I can identify suffering. I can identify that there's a level of harm being done, and now they're choosing to be harmed, hurt people. They're choosing to be harmful to others, right? By I'm going to engage in my rage and my hatred on you being just different, right? Because that's what I was taught, right? And so I look at someone like Daryl Davis, who's a blues musician, right? And what he found himself doing time and time again was befriending Klansmen. He's a black blues musician in the South who found himself in a situation where he's talking to a KKK member. And at the end, by the end of the conversation, the KKK member is like, I want you to meet more of my friends. Before you know it, he had people leaving the Klan. But how did he do that? He became their friend. For so long, they didn't have anybody to connect with, to build with, to even understand, and even have compassion for. They just knew, I need to hate you. But once he started playing the guitar, and they're like, you play the guitar? And then he starts saying, well, actually, I played with so-and-so. And they were like, you played with who? Now we having a conversation. It went from you entertaining me to you're enlightening me, right? I'm engaging with you, right? Now I'm involved. Now I realize, man, I've been wrong. Like, you are a black man. And we have just had a cordial conversation and enjoyed each other's company, right? And so what do? I got to lead the Klan because I can't no longer represent this entity, this body that is in disagreement with what I've experienced as a person now, right? I was taught to hate. Now I got compassion for somebody who I didn't have compassion for, right? And I'm not saying the man is changing the world, but he's changed the perspective of many people, right? It ain't just an isolated event. We talking about the man I think he done wrote a book and stories on him about how he's done this. And so when I'm saying these things, right, we want to have people vote, but if all we doing is creating more division, if the numbers don't change, what are we voting for, right? If we don't get people to see our side or we don't see their side and we don't come to an agreement to say, okay, I see your struggle, you see my struggle. How do we work together to get over our struggles, to get past our struggles, right? I'm just going to let you be in your little team and I'm just going to be in my little team and the two will never cross, right? Which to me is stupid. It achieves nothing. It angers me more than anything, right? Because that's just as good as saying the kid who has a rap sheet can never escape the justice system, right? Oh, we're going to give up on him. He ain't never going to change. Same thing for the racists. Oh, they ain't going to change. I'm going to hate them just like they hate me, right? Now, like I said, I will beat your assumptions, so don't get it twisted. I ain't a killer, but I stand my ground. I will defend my home. I will defend my people. Don't try to turn this into a soundbite. This is me being honest and being clear. I will not let you cause direct harm to me, but I understand why you causing harm in general. And I'm willing to work with you to get past that, right? To not disturb and add more pain to your harm, to not add more struggle to what you're going through. I'm saying that as being responsible, but being mindful. So I'm just saying, when we think about being able to hold your own and your own capacity, I ain't saying you got to do that. I'm not saying that by any means. I'm just giving you insight to where I sit, where I'm at. But I want to acknowledge that there is so much variety and nuance in what we're trying to accomplish, because ultimately, right, when June said stand by, stand back, which was quoting our now my dear boy Donnie Trumpelstein, Donnie T, right? He over here wilding. Oh yeah, he, I don't wish harm on nobody. You know what I'm saying? I don't, right? I know everybody was living it up and they was like, I don't wish that on nobody, right? Regardless of what we know or we don't know, he went through that. Probably he might still be going through it. Who knows? But I know for myself, when I heard him say those words, stand back, stand by, it reminded me of the times when I would see people get into a fight, or maybe I had gotten into a fight and there was a group of people and they would be like, nah, he got this. Just stand back. Just stand by. Nah, he got this. Stand back, stand by. That to me, right, is what I felt like he was saying, right? So it's harmful, but I'm hoping people understand that there's a lot of deep layers, right? Now, this is me being irresponsible to some degree because the facts are murky. The time period, we talking about 1927, we talking about Donald Trump's father being 21 years old in New York, right? We're talking about before we knew anything, but we're talking about kind of happenstance. There's a KKK rally going on in New York, and at the same time, in that same time frame, right, that the rally's going on, they apprehended, I believe his name was Fred Trump. Fred Trump, right? That's Donald Trump's father. They apprehended him at the rally. Now, is it saying that Fred Trump was a KKK member? We don't know. We just know that as the rally was going on, right? He lived where the rally was happening. He was also arrested, right? So, to me, when I see what Donald Trump has said, I I feel like there's a correlation, right? I feel like it's hard to miss when I talk about it being ingrained in children, right? Because now I have to connect the dots, right? Back in what was it, 1927, and now here we are in 2020, almost 100 years later, 93 years later, where the son of this man who was arrested in this place at this time, right? Sometimes they say, don't make the assumption because it just, when you assume, right, it makes a out of you and me, right? Me because I'm the one that's assuming, you because you're assuming as well, right? We have to diffuse the situation, right? So to me in this situation, I just want to be clear, people. You have to think critically, right? You have to know what you're going to allow. I'm not saying you got to do what I do. You ain't got to move how I move. You ain't got to do what any one of us does. But I do want you to think critically about all of this because I want us to move forward in a way that's reducing the harm, that is moving towards healing, and is mindful of change in a positive, sustainable manner, right? Because it's not enough to just say, I'm not rocking with y'all. Somebody gonna have to say, you know what, let me see what's going on over there because it's obvious there's something hurting you because you willing to hurt me or you've been taught to hurt me. And now I got to figure out, okay, how do I curb this? If it was taught to you, maybe we got to get different teachers. So with that, I just leave y'all, think critically, right? Take care of yourself, be well to yourself. I mean, do we have any other thoughts, feelings? Anybody got anything else they want to say?
I may have been a bit crass and being a bit opinionated, however, and slightly creative in my stance or my disposition. But I'm just thankful that this is a safe space that I can do that in. And yes, thank you.
I'm thankful that you were here with us, June. I appreciate you. I'm thankful for you being able to give us your perspective, your insight, and your knowledge because it's key. It's essential. We all at the table, right? We don't have to agree about every little thing. We just gotta know what direction are we headed in, right? I ain't gonna always agree with my cousin drinking soda, but if that's what they want to do, hey, do it. Me, I'm gonna get this pH balance essential water, and that's gonna be my turn up juice, right? It ain't really juice. It's just because I'm trying to lower the acidity and raise the pH balance in my body. But that's just me. I can't be mad that that's how you move. Enjoy your soda. So it's all love here. That's what we do.
Keep it alkaline.
Keep that alkaline. You feel me? Get electric with it. How about you, Alfluent? Any final thoughts? Any closing words? Anything you want to say?
If you go trick or treat, be safe. Remember, it's just like going to the drive-through. It's not much different than that. Wear your mask. They still got the drive-through. So, they advise it against trick or treating, but if you absolutely must and you find a neighborhood to do so safely, get your costume on and be safe during Halloween and be just rest up and be ready to vote um, the following Tuesday. It's it's an exciting time, and really it can be an exciting fourth quarter if we make it that way. Um, we can be clutch as a country, um, and come through in the fourth quarter where this has been a tough year. We can come through as a country and really make an impact for ourselves and for the future. Um, just by doing research and just talking to each other. Like the more conversations we have as individuals, the more people become, aware of our opinion, our stance, what we believe in, and we may hopefully we learn a little bit more about, what everyone else is believing. I think, we can make better decisions for each other when we understand where we're coming from, because we have different, circumstances, not just perspectives and scopes, but also, things that are important. Sometimes people are not working, you know, in the fields or the industries that they're working in just because they have a career interest. Sometimes it's a personal reason. Sometimes about financial stability. Sometimes it's about looking after family members. Um, and we really have to always take into account that the reason that somebody is taking a certain stance is because they may have some strong belief that we haven't thought of, and like that's really important for us to say, okay, we have two different scopes, but help me see through your lens, by telling your story and allowing me to listen, allowing me to care and respect you enough to listen to what you got to say. Yeah, so keep respecting each other and respect the people who come before us, in this opportunity to vote, voting, for the right elected official allowed Thurgood Marshall to be appointed to the Supreme Court. It allowed um, Judge Ginsburg to be the late Judge Ginsburg to be appointed to the Supreme Court. And when we vote for the people that care about us, we end up with strong members in administration. We end up with strong members in the presidential administration in the branches of the government that can make a difference because they believe in you know human rights. Um, yeah, and they're fighting also. They're fighting on our behalf. Um, at least we hope they are. Or they're fighting on, and when I say our behalf, is citizens and non-citizens alike. Is we're all citizens of the planet, and we all have to work to make decisions that are best for folks on the planet. Yeah, that's all I got to say.
Okay. Wakanda
Wakanda
forever.
forever.
So I just want to say my final thoughts. If I'm wrong, let me know I'm wrong, because I'm trying to do right by you, right? I'm trying to do right by myself, but I can't do it by myself, right? I don't want to cause harm. I ain't trying to cause harm. So if I'm wrong, let me know I'm wrong, or good luck trying to convince me. But either ways, this has been episode 20 of the Lyrical Ones podcast. And that's a wrap, y'all. We appreciate it. If you didn't know, he was talking about taco neck syndrome. You remember Shaquille O'Neal had that from the 90s. You put your head sideways. I had that in choir. They used to see the video and they'd be like, why are your head always to the side? I'm like, I don't know. And they was like, it's because he got the taco neck syndrome. So yeah, sometimes I was off balance too. So peace, love, respect yourself first. And then you can figure out everything else you got to do from there. Love yourself. Thank y'all.